Ladies and gentlemen, what have I been telling you about Twitter? This is USA Today. How much does that tweet cost? Twitter's new super followers feature to give users a chance to make profit. Then there's a Syracuse.com article. Twitter launches super follows, which will let users charge followers to see premium content. Now, it could be the best stock in the world, best company in the world. I could be wrong. I don't think Twitter's going to be around in 5 or 6 years. The debt is skyrocketing. The user growth is not growing fast enough. Could be plummeting. I mean, they say it's growing at a much slower pace than expected, but it could be plummeting. I mean, how is anyone going to find out? What do they call it? The daily monetizable user base, or whatever dumb phrase they made up. Who knows? Who cares? They say 80%, I think it's like 80% of Twitter users are outside the US, but it's only the United States of America. It's only American politics that Twitter is actually extremely influential. For some reason, we have been lured into this cauldron of discontent, this boiling pot of angst and frustration and sermons and preaching and judgment and condemnation from wonderful, apoplectic, seething, fuming, hysterical, fanatical, morally superior, good liberals. Who, by the way, it only took Biden 1 month. What was I saying about Biden? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not right about everything, but I've been right about a lot of things. A lot of things. And I told you, just President Biden's track record is absolutely horrendous in terms of foreign policy. And that's another story. I'm going to talk about today the wonderful governor of New York and his investigations. So stay tuned. And I'll talk about Mitch McConnell, who pledged full allegiance to President Trump, or that he'll support President Trump, which is what I've been saying. But ladies and gentlemen, because Trump controls the Republican Party, it's a populist political party that actually opposes what's going on now in terms of Biden's foreign policy. They say, well, Trump did the same thing. He was pretty much pushed to do what he did by all the establishment foreign policy hawks that are now rejoicing that they have a president who will do exactly what they want at all times. Anyway, Twitter, what kind of life do you have, ladies and gentlemen? Think about this. Think about a person, and I'll read the article, but they're implementing a subscription-based service because nobody really wants to go on Twitter for free anymore. I mean, people still do. It's a behemoth of a company, yes. There are millions of people on it, but there are 250 million Americans, 99% of whom are not on Twitter every day. And they say, well, you have what's one of the estimates, 20, something absurd. They say 10 to 20 million Americans. That's nonsense. There are probably hundreds of thousands of people, just in terms of politics, that check their, perhaps a couple million, that check their Twitter account every single day obsessively. Less than that. Hundreds of thousands that check their account every single day obsessively pertaining to politics, or used to. Once they banned President Trump, they removed all the incentive to actually go on Twitter. Now they have to launch a subscription-based service. So the stock's gone up because it beat estimates. But the user growth isn't growing fast enough. The debt is increasing. They have $3 billion plus in debt. They had $1 billion plus a couple years back. And let's just read this. But here, Twitter launches super follows. Will let users charge followers to see premium content. Ladies and gentlemen, also be here tonight at around, I would say 7 p.m. Pacific tonight for the live stream. Definitely also hit subscribe to this channel. Please tell your friends about this channel. If you want to support my voice long term, my Patreon is below. If you want to see my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, The Daily Caller, The Roanoke Times, a bunch of publications, go to hagoodman.com. You can see my writing there. My debates there as well. Twitter is branching out from advertising to find more ways to make money. And the subtext here is because it's not making enough money. It's not growing fast enough on a free platform to make the money it needs to survive in the long term. That's why they're going for Facebook doesn't have a subscription. Instagram, I don't think you need a subscription. No, you can make money on those platforms, but they're actually going for a subscription-based revenue stream because the free platform that it is today isn't generating enough money. It's slowly going out of business. It's the Enron of cyber realities. But what kind of person do you have to be in life, ladies and gentlemen? What kind of individual do you have to be? And I don't say this with, I don't say this with scorn or malice. Because if you're this type of person, you should really, take up a hobby or try to find beauty in life to where you don't need to be. You need to find some meaning in life where you don't need to jump into some cyber reality, some fantasy world like this digital, like this world like Tron. Remember the movie Tron, the 80s movie Tron? That's what Twitter is like. Except it's just people arguing and insulting one another, especially if you're on the left, and moralizing and preaching and giving sermons and telling it's replaced church or place of worship for hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of Americans. Unfortunately, Democrats especially gained this spiritual sustenance from going on Twitter and trying to disparage Trump. It made them feel good about themselves. So a month into Biden's presidency, you see what's taking place. There's a reason the Lincoln Project loved Biden, because the neoconservatives of the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld era are just fine with Democrats. That's why I oppose them. That's the main reason I oppose the Democratic Party and the Lincoln Project and all the good Republicans, because I don't want never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. I don't want never-ending wars. And that's what my thing is. I don't want us to be in these never-ending conflicts. And we see a month in what's taking place. But what kind of person do you have to be to say, I'm going to pay for the privilege of reading a tweet from a Hollywood celebrity or some political operative? Could you imagine how much money President Trump could have made if this was not necessarily from supporters of President Trump, just from people who woke up every day to simply try to go after him? But here, Twitter is branching out from advertising to find more ways to make money, both for itself and for its most prolific users, whether those are businesses, celebrities, or regular people. Why would you pay to hear what, Petco or Nike had to say in a tweet? Or, Bette Midler? Or anyone on Twitter? Why would you pay to hear what a 90s or 80s actor that hasn't been, or actress that hasn't been in a movie in 30 plus years or 40 years, why would you pay to hear what they have to say about Trump months or years after he's no longer in the White House? Hopefully 2024 he runs again. The beginning of peace between North and South Korea, the first president to step foot in North Korea, Abraham Accords, peace between Israel, UAE, Bahrain, Serbia and Kosovo, economic deals between those two countries. President Trump presided over great foreign policy accomplishments. Democrats don't care about foreign policy. They just don't care about foreign policy at all. They don't care at all. But here, in an investor presentation Thursday, a couple hours back, this is a social media company announced a new feature called Super Follows, which will let users charge for extra exclusive material not shown to their regular followers. This can include subscriber-only newsletters, videos, deals, and discounts. Users would pay a monthly subscription fee to access the extra content. So, you would rather be on Twitter than watch Netflix? What kind of choice is that? You would rather be on Twitter than, I don't know, live your life in the real world? And you're going to pay? You're going to pay. So imagine how many arguments. So let's say like it's a celebrity and you pay like, I don't know, $2, $3. I don't know how, $5, $10, who knows? $20? How much money to read a premium content tweet? And so then what happens? You pay for it, and then you have to get into arguments with people. You get into arguments with people, like, which is what always happens. So you're actually paying to elevate your blood pressure. You're actually paying, giving money to be insulted or to feel unhappy or to just get into a disagreement. That's all that Twitter is. It's this boiling pot and cauldron of discontent and angst and frustration and negativity. Remember the slime from Ghostbusters 2? This is like more slime than the bubbling, gooey, slime would engulf the universe if you could kind of like if Twitter was the fuel for all the negativity. It's just unbelievable. So why would you pay for this? This is like an admission of just defeat. The company, especially after banning Trump, is tanking, and nobody sees it. The stock price is up. You know what? People are still on it. Fine, but like, what's the writing on the wall? Do you think this platform's going to be around and as influential as it is in 5 years, 6 years, 7 years? You know how many hours people have spent on Twitter? I used to have Twitter. I don't have Twitter anymore. I don't have Twitter. I haven't had Twitter for like almost 3 years now. Close to 3 years. I don't have Facebook for close to 3 years. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And I urge you, if you're watching, to delete your Twitter account and delete your Facebook account. And don't just like, I mute people and, I don't have to listen to things. No. Delete. Anybody that you care about, call them on the phone or email them. And if you want to like see a picture of what they ate, call them up and say, hey, text me a photo of what you ate. You don't have to be on Facebook. It's like a waste of time. And nowadays, if you're on Twitter and you you could retweet something that somebody else finds offensive, and boom, you have no job. So it's like it's a way. Democrats and media and oftentimes apoplectic, wonderful, seething, fuming, hysterical, fanatical, wonderful, morally superior liberals, what they want to do is they want to judge you in a manner that they would never, view themselves. Or the standard by which they judge others is not the standard by which they judge themselves. That's called hypocrisy. So when they get caught writing offensive tweets or offensive statements in writing, they ask for forgiveness, they ask for empathy, mercy, and they're given that. But if you say one thing on Twitter, or if they find out that I don't know, like, what was it? There was this like really honorable young man who raised like $1 million for a cancer charity. What was this? It was in Milwaukee. And then some intrepid reporter found out that he had said something offensive 10 years back. And the charity, I think the charity tried to distance itself. Or no. It was a beer company. The beer company, there's so many cowardly people in business. The beer company, even though the man raised what, like $1 million for, I forgot the story exactly, but the man, you can look it up. The man raised like $1 million for a children's charity. But this intrepid reporter found that he had written something on Twitter. So then the beer company ended their business relationship or whatever. And then they found out, in typical, in this day and age, that's exactly what takes place. Then they found out the reporter had written offensive tweets of his own. And then he was poop canned, I believe. So that's what Twitter is about. It's about one political party, the Democratic Party, finding creative ways in cyberspace to ruin people's lives via Twitter. But anyway, the subscription-based service, I will go ahead and give you the link. Twitter users and company investors have long been asking it to launch a subscription-based model. Twitter users have been asking this? What kind of people are these? Who are these people that have been asking that they want to pay for unhappiness? This is a growing number of internet creators and influencers use tools like Patreon, Substack, and OnlyFans to make money from their online popularity. Subscriptions will allow Twitter to tap into a broader range of revenue sources in a world where online advertising is dominated by Facebook. Twitter did not detail what percentage of the revenue it would share with the celebrities. If like I said, if your life is not fulfilled enough, if you don't have enough going on in your life where you have to pay during a pandemic when people have lost jobs, you're going to pay to read the tweet of a celebrity, you must have a great deal of money that you just want to do away with. Give me your thoughts below. It's a behemoth of a company now, but so was Enron. And the writing's on the wall. There's really no reason why people are going to continue. Like, the influence that this platform has in American politics will not be the same. It's reached its plateau already in terms of influence. Now that you don't have President Trump there, it's reached its plateau. And you see like the more it bans, like the next time it bans the New York Post for a story about Caligula, Biden's son, you're going to see much greater pushback against the company. Like, the more it tries to just prop up the Democratic Party and do everything possible to censor or suppress the Republican Party or to pick one side and try to just kind of hurt the other, the more it does that, the more people around the world, and especially within the U.S., will realize that, hey, this is actually not just a platform, it's a tool. It's a political tool. And it's a very, very... It's a political tool that actually has the capability to ruin people's lives. Especially if you're, if you don't, abide by the prevailing mentality of the day. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I'll be back numerous times today. I have a lot to talk about in terms of New York's wonderful governor, Mitch McConnell, a whole bunch of topics. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now.